2017-18 instructional program budget. I will get us started and Matthew will follow along. There you go. Celebrating our successes, we always want to start by looking back and thinking what things went exceptionally well for us this year that we're incredibly proud of. So district-wide, we're continuing to work on the curriculum mapping, looking at standards, outcomes. The big conversation this year has been assessment. Professional development to support district building and team goals. At the elementary level, we are very proud of the AIS reading program that we put in place after school. Many thanks to all of you for allowing us to have busing to really make that program what it needs to be. The increased use of data for our interventions has been very critical this year with our reading teams and the data teams at the 3 schools. And evidence of transfer and writers' workshop professional development. This is our second year with a consultant coming in to work at the 3 elementary buildings, helping us boost the writers' workshop presence in our classrooms. And I am thrilled to say that I just spent 2 weeks at BB, and there is so much evidence of Carl Anderson's work in our classrooms. Kids are writing. They love to talk about their writing. They grab you to share their writing. They're very proud of the work that they're doing. I saw a number of mini lessons being delivered, and I am very impressed with what I'm seeing. And the teachers are as well, so much so that they've asked us to bring someone in to do readers' workshop next year with them. So Carl will be back to do some writers' workshop work, and we'll bring another consultant along to help us begin to talk about reading. So that's really gone exceptionally well. The middle school experimented this year with AIS tiered instruction, reading actually and math, and that has gone very well as well. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, Anisia Bell Jefferson and I will be presenting at a data inquiry course that we've been taking through PACE, but at BOCES, and we are using this particular piece as the central focus of our presentation and how well that has gone. They did a great job really drilling down into the data to find out why kids were struggling, put in place some nice interventions this year, so hats off to the teachers for the work that they've done, and to Anisia for leading that work. Yes?
What is AIS tiered?
So this year, for the first time in a while, because I think at one point we did have reading services at the middle school, but we haven't had reading services for a bit. At the end of last year, there were a group of teachers, both special ed and gen ed, who were concerned with some reading outcomes, and they did a few assessments, drilled a little bit down deeper into what the problem was, and we were able to redesign some reading support. There's also math support there as well. So there's a period in the day when children on the grade level are reassembled based on ability, and those groups meet with teachers who target whatever needs they have, or in some cases stretch kids who are functioning above grade level in either math or ELA. And additionally, there are 2 teachers delivering a Wilson program and a program called Level Literacy Intervention. In both of those cases, those 2 teachers have done an amazing job, and we're seeing great results with those kids. So we're very pleased and very proud of what they're doing. At the high school, we had the implementation of the 9th grade Humanities program, the expansion of STEM and dual credit courses. We continued the growth in advanced placement enrollment and performance in those courses. As you know, the first week of May are the assessments there. And I think Tommy Baker spoke a few weeks ago about the increased athletic participation, drama. We have evidence of that all the time, and music as well, and lots of extracurricular activities. So this year was a very nice and robust year, I might say, in the district. So goals for 2017-2018. Academically, we're looking to maintain existing programs and services for students and then expand course offerings and programs based on both student interest and academic need. Professional learning and support, we're looking to strengthen and diversify professional learning opportunities for staff. We've had a number of both internal and external opportunities this year. I will be speaking with the instructional leaders 6-12 and the grade level leaders K-5 to begin to talk about what professional development should look like in 17-18. Continuing to build the instructional leadership capacity of our teachers. So Friday, if Mother Nature is kind to us, We will begin the first day of full-day training for our elementary teacher leaders. The elementary teacher leaders will have 2 full days of training this year and then a half day in the fall. At the end of June, the 6-12 teacher leaders will have their 2 days of training, and they'll all come together in the fall for the last half day. Yes, ma'am.
How are the teacher leaders chosen?
The positions are posted, and then there's an interview process for that. So I'm not sure if you know, you probably do, that it's a 3-year tenure. We had some positions just recently open, so we interviewed for those. So we'll have the people coming into their first year of service in September as part of the training that's coming.
Okay. So it hasn't changed?
No, it hasn't changed, no. That last bullet there, we are very excited about. The administrative team, that includes all of the principals and APs in the district, are collaborating on the creation of a new teacher induction program. As you know, we have a mentor program that takes teachers through their first year in Hendrick-Hudson. We've had a lot of conversation about what we'd like to see when we're ready to make the tenure decision. So we've been meeting together to build a program that continues after year 1 and carries teachers through years 2, 3, and 4. Administrators will be doing some of that professional development. If we need to reach out to outside organizations, we will surely do that. We've talked to Dr. Sorobloff about all of those teachers being Google certified before tenure. So we are very excited about the opportunities that exist to bring people along in the areas of curriculum, instruction, and assessment. Fiscal responsibility, so affecting personnel reductions via attrition. Matthew will talk a little bit more about that. And of course, Enrique spoke about staying within the tax cap, maximizing staffing. We looked a lot at our schedules at each building to continue to try to be efficient with the way we share staff, the staff that we do share. We have a meeting coming up next week where the elementary and secondary principals will get together and make final decisions about how we're sharing, who is sharing, trying to minimize travel, because when teachers have to travel, we do lose instructional time. And then considering the long-term implications of any additions to the budget. Okay? So, yep.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because most people don't understand it. When people travel between buildings, they get
Travel time.
travel time plus prep time.
Well, they always are entitled to their prep and their lunch. That's a given no matter what. It's just if they're shared across a building in the same day, the 2 buildings have to decide where those 2 pieces happen. What's additional to that is that there is a half-hour travel time. So if I'm an art teacher leaving Frank G to go to BB and do afternoon instruction, I have to add in the half-hour of travel time to go from one building to the next. And in that travel, you lose the opportunity for a period of instruction. So we tried this past year, and we were, I think, somewhat successful with it, but you're always looking to be as efficient as you can, looking to minimize travel during the course of a day and trying to assign people to a building for an entire day and have them go to the next building for another separate entire day, so that there isn't inter-day travel. It's just Monday at one building, Tuesday at another. That's not always possible. So really the principals have to sit at the table and make those decisions together, look at their schedules and figure out the efficiencies that exist. Okay?
And the people who travel generally are like PPS staff.
Art, music, PE, library, ENL. So each of those positions have the potential for travel. The reading teachers right now stay in the buildings where they are. We may have the potential for one person to travel next year. And again, we're always looking to try to make that as effective for kids. So this year I included a slide on funding sources for curriculum instruction. The top 4 are either federal or state funding. And so in 16-17, those are the dollar amounts that we received. They are all based on per pupil allotment. And it says TBD because we don't know what that grant money will look like in the coming school year. There is some conversation at the federal level, or I should say there was some conversation at the federal level, of combining Title I and Title III. Title I addresses students at risk. Title III is the ENL grant. So again, it's a little tricky sometimes budgeting because you don't know yet what dollar amount you will be receiving, and yet you still have to figure programs that are dependent upon that money to move forward. And most of it is in, go ahead. Did you want to?
Yeah, and their funding year is different. As we're a July 1 to June 30, these funding sources are September 1 to August 31.
I'm sorry, what's 1, 2, and 3?
Federal, Title I is at risk, so that's, think of AIS reading, AIS math. Title II is professional development, and Title III is E&L.
CIAPD, that's curriculum instruction.
Assessment, professional development.
Okay.
And then, of course, the textbook funding is there. What comes from the district budget are the bottom three items. So it's curriculum, summer curriculum development, curriculum writing monies, anything that we do in the district related to curriculum and instruction comes usually out of that line item. And this year, you can see it was $84,966. I had a conversation with Enrique. He allowed us to increase it by 2%, so it goes up a little bit in 17-18. And then the second line is District BOCES PD. Those are the consultants that come to us through BOCES or the workshops that we attend at their location. That's co-servable money, but that's the dollar amount that we put forward every year to draw down from. And the last item there that has some implications for PD, as you might imagine, is district seminars and meetings. The buildings also have funds for that. That's the district money. So often we draw from that if we're going as a team to something. And we have been using all three of those. So thank you for the increase. Okay. Questions? I'm going to turn this over to HR.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So, Dr. Roller was speaking a little bit about the instructional side of this budget. I'm going to give you a little of the data that goes behind it. Obviously, everything we do is related to student enrollment. That sort of drives our budget that we work with. So you can see here the enrollment trend. No surprise in the numbers there. You know what's happening with student enrollment. These are the elementary class size guidelines that are in effect now, and this slide is a little misleading, but the bottom row, 2009-10 row, is the row that is in effect right now. So there was a couple of revisions in the past, just so you can see the history of that, but the bottom row is what's in place right now. Let me give you a big disclaimer before you look at this. This is really preliminary data. It's March 8th, right? And a lot of people have not registered yet. So I will explain this to you, but just really keep in mind it's going to change. What we do know is if you look at the kindergarten row, this is last year at BV and this is this year at BV. You can tell by looking at these numbers that if assuming it's a pretty even rollover, at least more than half the kids haven't even registered yet. So that tells me that there's going to be a lot of change at kindergarten at BB. As of right now, there's only 2 sections. Last year there were 4, but there's still a lot of space for people to register. At Lindsay, it's a little closer. Last year there were 3 sections. This year, right now, there's only 2, but only 41 students have been enrolled. It's pretty reasonable to expect that it's going to go up to what it was last year or close to it. Furnace Woods is a little more stable. You can see that last year there were 2 sections. As of right now, there's 2 sections and almost as many kindergartners are enrolled. So that one is a little more stable.
And it was at about this time last year that the Furnace Woods data at this point in kindergarten registration showed 15 kids. So
Right.
they doubled, and it happens. Families move, they forget to register, and in some cases they see the bus drive by a couple times in September, and they bring in their children and say, "Oh, it's time to go to school." That
It's not really a
happens.
joke.
It happens, right? Yeah, right.
One other thing I'll point out is in grades 1 through 5 across the board, we do have one good thing going for us is it's pretty unlikely that there will be splits in grades 1 through 5 because the way the numbers are right now, none of those classes are any closer than 8 kids away from the cap.
Good.
So last year we had some that were 1 or 2 away, so it was more volatile. Right now, the grades 1 through 5 are pretty stable because the closest section is 8 kids away from splitting. And as you know, most of the new enrollment is coming in at kindergarten. So, what that means is next year, right now, we're projecting 16 sections at Frank G. Last year was 18, but remember, PD, sorry. There's 2 sections there that have not registered yet. At Frank G. Lindsay, 18 compared to 20, but it looks like there's 1 section already that is still going to walk in the door. And Furnace Woods, that seems likely that there'll be that 1. But again, it's all really early.
So we're ballparking 2, a reduction of 2.
This is our elementary staffing as of right now. Total of 976 students, and there's the breakdown, I won't read them, of classroom teachers, reading teachers, and all the various specials. Gives you a sense of where the splits are. I know we were just talking about that. Oops. So there's a split right there. There's a split right there. So these are people that are working in 1 or more buildings. At the middle school, the enrollment is much easier to predict, and because we don't have such a huge influx of kindergartners, for example, so we can expect that this number is going to be pretty accurate. And there's the middle school staffing. And we have a part-time person and some splits there as well. And high school enrollment also a little bit easier to predict because there's less movement in and out.
Can we go back to middle school
Staffing or enrollment?
enrollment? How many kids do you have to have to run a team?
At the middle school?
Yeah.
Four core, if you think of 15 maybe, 15 in the 4 core, 16. I'm without speaking with John and knowing the intricacies. But that's a system, how we staff and organize the middle school. It's a system issue we're going to have to think about if enrollment trends the way it's trending, because we may have inefficiently staffed teams with very, very low class size, and there are other models out there. One model is a junior high model. The issue is you've got 6th grade in there with 7th and 8th, which is, there's research why that works and why that doesn't. I don't want to get into that. But what you have is you have 2 competing policies around who can teach what. 6th grade still falls under elementary certification. 7th and 8th fall under secondary. So you can't necessarily have a 6th grade math teacher teach math to 7th and 8th graders. You can't have an 8th grade science teacher teach English to 6th grade. So there are some different models that we may need to look at if these trends continue to be a little more efficient with staff.
Okay. Thank you. I was just curious.
Yeah.
As we're trending down.
And we're at the high school staffing, and again, you can see where the shared staff are and the allocation by special and classroom teachers.
Okay, so 17, 18 program proposals at the elementary level. We're looking to continue the after-school work that we're doing right now and trying to expand that to include enrichment. We are also looking at, we have a K-5 enrichment committee meeting later this month, so we'll talk a little bit more about item 2, looking at what the needs are of kids, what the performance is, and what does that mean for work that we can do during the school day with students, what other opportunities can we offer. Beth Gruber and I are having a lot of fabulous conversations about planning an enriching summer program that will have many different types of opportunities, some STEM related, some arts and theater related, some interesting reading experiences that don't necessarily feel like school but still keep kids engaged. And then should we have success with that, we might consider bringing that along to becoming week-long camps when we have our school breaks during the year. a February break, a Christmas break, a spring break. So we'll see how that is developed. But we've had lots of interest from people outside of the school, and we're about to put out a proposal for teachers to come up with ideas that they might be interested in sharing with the elementary division for a week or a 2-week long experience over the summer. So we're excited about what we can do. Yes, sir.
The mentoring, are we talking about bringing people from outside, like seniors or retired people, or?
That's a great conversation to have. VV went out first with a mentoring program for their students, and they feel they've had a lot of success with that. And so what does it mean to expand that, both in terms of something maybe outside of the school day? Right now, the mentors see their children during school, obviously not during class, but last year when I did it, I went and had lunch with my mentee. But there's no reason to think that we couldn't look at, even the potential for some of our high school kids to have that relationship with a younger student. So I think, we're really just looking to see how can we support our young students, both academically and socially and emotionally.
Well, in all fairness, a lot of that's happening already. I mean, the guidance, the high school
honor
kids are
societies.
between peer leadership and the
Mhm.
honor societies. They're all going down and helping the elementary level, and I know that the principals, and I imagine the teachers love it, and I know the kids
And the
do.
kids.
Yeah.
But
Kids
the high
loved
school
it.
kids do too.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, yes. The
So
little kids always love when the big kids come down and work with them. They hang on every word they say. It's their heroes to them. So
Yes.
the more we can get them involved, the better it is for everybody, I think.
And it's branching out. I was part of observing an interaction with the girls' basketball team. Went down to BV and worked with the second grade classrooms. And I know Tom Baker is trying to make that part of what our athletic teams are doing, in addition to the honor societies.
you're
and those
right. Even the
guys.
cheer camp, I know
Yep.
they do like the clinics and stuff.
Yep.
So
It's good PR for the work, too. I mean, the conversation I had with Christine Rogers about STEM-related activities, if little kids see what this could be when they get into the upper grades, it starts to really generate some interest. So that's what we're looking for. And at the secondary level, right now at the high school, we're talking about, in the next 2 weeks I'll be here for a residency, so we'll be talking a little bit more about the potential for a 2-year humanities AP seminar, AP research experience. So if you think about the science research track, looking to duplicate that on the humanities side of the house. So for kids who are not necessarily a science or a math person, it might be interesting for them to do some explorations in the social sciences. And I honestly think that 2-year combination, you don't really get much better for college ready than to have kids really explore a question of their choosing and do some serious research around it, being mentored by a classroom teacher. So we're excited about the potential for that. At the middle school, we've been having some conversations about the expansion of the STEM-related activities. We already have the gateway to technology piece there, but I know with some changes to scheduling at the middle school, there will be additional opportunities for teachers to step outside of their core classes and offer some additional courses. We also looked at what we can do with the TV studio that's there that hasn't really been fully utilized. We had a conversation with the librarian and I believe Paul Giacchini, who's the art chair, about what we could possibly do with that. So again, we're trying to expand the opportunities that kids can take advantage of, both during the school day and potentially after school. Okay.
So I'm going to wind down with a look at the staffing. So we have 10 confirmed retirements as of right now. We don't expect any more. And those are all, as of right now, we're planning on replacing all those positions. Those are the positions listed there. So we do, as I said, plan to replace all retirees. There will obviously be a cost savings, a financial savings due to the lower salaries of the new folks. Likely to eliminate 2 or 3 sections at the elementary level as of right now. But my big warning about kindergarten registration still being underway, and the impact of scheduling, obviously, with those split people, that's still to be determined. Questions?
Anybody? Just a couple of things. The student enrollment, it is clearly declining, but are you noticing any sort of trends? Like, are you noticing that the classes are getting progressively smaller, or are you noticing that, that maybe there's a wave of kids coming in, like at the elementary level or anything, or is it just
No, but
continuing
one thing
to,
that's interesting to look at is, if I can get to it, the class size between the three schools is quite different.
Yes, always has been.
Yeah. So other than that, no.
And the other question was,
But actually, but to go to that, if you total up the elementary schools, they're smaller. Each grade is smaller than the middle school grades. If you go
combined together, yeah.
if you go kindergarten,
but so
first
saying you're
grade.
not seeing any growth. It's
No.
it's still inching
it's
down.
shrinking.
Yep. The other thing is you talked about new programs that you were talking that you suggested. What are you looking at?
In what level?
Well, any one of them. I think you specifically mentioned the middle and the high school. But you talked about programs based on interest and resources.
So at the elementary
Step
level,
up to the microphone.
oh, sorry. At the elementary level, and again through the K-5 Enrichment Committee, we had lots of conversation about the opportunity to expand during the course of the school day, to have kids stretched, to have kids experience a different kind of learning. And one of the programs that we looked at is Renzulli's enrichment model, which brings into play what he refers to as enrichment clusters. So those are students have an opportunity to say, here are 5 things I'm interested in learning about, and that information is gathered collectively by the school. And then based on need across the board, we might say, well, let's do a class on gardening, let's do a class on French, let's do a class on astronomy. Teachers would also have a role in that. So what are you capable of instructing? What do you have that's outside of the box? So giving kids the opportunity to look at situations like that, again, plays into the conversation around scheduling and a whole lot of other sidebar conversations.
Well, something like that, would that be after school, or would you try and incorporate that into the school day?
We actually were looking to pilot something like on a Friday, having this type of environment occur perhaps from 2 o'clock on, and then cycle through, let's say, a 4 to 6 week course on gardening or chess, or like I said, a foreign language. But it's an exciting way to get kids engaged in what are you interested in learning more about, and it's also an opportunity for kids at that level to figure out what am I good at and what do I really like to do.
All right. Well, I'm sure there's a tremendous number of details, like just the
There are.
logistics of that one.
There are.
Are you looking at things in the middle school? You talked about STEM, which I think is wonderful, moving that down. And the high school, anything, or
The
is
high
that
school,
pretty
the
much?
conversation is really, so we have a few retirements this year that will cause conversation to occur around electives. And the question is, what are we replacing those electives with? That's part of how we got to the Humanities AP seminar, AP research. I don't know, but over the course of the next 2 weeks that I am here, I'm sure I will hear more about what other opportunities exist for the high school to be exploring next year. Again, scheduling is always a major factor, and then if you add something, do you need to then take something away? So creating that balance, also figuring out who is teaching the particular course that's being tossed about. So there's always
And one of the struggles at the high school level, and you'll hear this in the academic report, is that oftentimes these courses are singletons. So they're offered
Right.
once, and when you have students who are interested in engineering and science research and maybe this AP Humanities class, they're forced to make in band and orchestra, they're forced to make a choice.
Cannibalize each other.
Or they give up a lunch, which looks great on paper, but kids also need a break during a 9-period day. So
Most boys don't do that. That's
most
just
boys
girls.
don't do that. Girls do that.
They eat. They eat.
The boys eat. So, that's one of the issues as well. And part of this conversation, the first bullet, was around achieving in a humanities approach what the science research program is kind of about. You learn principles of research, you apply them, but a lot of your work and a lot of your study is outside of school in a lab with a scientist or whomever, trying to capture kids who might not be STEM and science brain, but are more of a through literature or history. Can we achieve the same sort of outcome? Almost as a independent study sort of model.
Practicing whatever,
Yeah.
depending upon what the field or the question is that you're raising for yourself. I'm hoping while I'm here over the next 2 weeks that I will have the opportunity to meet some student groups as well. So I'm very interested in hearing from the kids. What are you interested in that maybe we need to think more about? Do we need to do some more work around gaming or coding at this level? We have some great courses in place right now. Looking forward to hearing a little bit more from the department leaders as well, and we'll see what next year will look like. But that's all in consultation with Jim and the two APs, Laura and Tina. So,
Great, thank you.
yeah.